We have heard many questions over the past week about the Musqueam Indian Band Agreement and the impact it will have on private property rights and title, but what has not been discussed as yet is the remainder of the land and waterways that are covered by this agreement that has been carefully developed, maintained, and paid for by the taxpayers of British Columbia over the past 100+ years. These include parks, sports fields, schools, hospitals, beaches, seawalls, foreshores, bike paths, pools, streets, sidewalks, boulevards, bridges, community centers, museums, city halls, fire halls, police stations, power stations, courthouses, lighting, sewers, water mains, traffic controls, ocean markers, lighthouses, wharves, docks, boathouses, gas barges, naval reserves, breakwaters, and on and on and on. All of this will now be under the decision-making authority of Chief Wayne Sparrow and his family, a man who is essentially becoming a king under this agreement. So my question to the Premier is this: is he willing to stand up for British Columbia and admit that this agreement has now gone too far?
Minister of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. What I can say very clearly is the member, yet again, goes too far. She spreads untruths. She tells things that are not in any way factual. And she can have her own opinion, but she can't have her own facts. The facts of the matter are Musqueam have been clear. Our government has been clear. No private property is on the table. No private businesses. I'm not sure why the member in the Conservative Party is shouting at me about this. I guess they're so desperate to try and draft behind 1BC on this issue that they have to shout at me when 1BC is asking a question. So I just have to say clearly, the member continues to try and spread hate, to spread untruths, to spread division in her quest to somehow become queen of this province, if she's using kings and queens in her analogy. Well, the people aren't buying it. We're not buying it. First Nations people aren't buying it. And in fact, the loudest thing that I hear in a community is that they don't want her as their MLA because she doesn't have a constituency office. She doesn't show up to work for her constituents. But when she does show up, she shows up to spread untruths and hate.
Member has supplemental.
Okay, there's so much there to deal with, Mr. Speaker, so I'm going to start by directly responding to the comments. First of all, nothing in my question dealt with private property this morning. I don't know if you're hard of hearing or if this minister is hard of hearing, but he needs to listen carefully to the question. I was talking about public waterways, public lands, public infrastructure. Secondly, I do not have it. Let's be clear on this. I do not have a legislative office. Why? Because that is the responsibility of this legislature, and I had to get a statement from the Speaker's office to chastise members of the opposition who continue to hack on me for not having an office. It is not my responsibility, and don't sneer and smirk. This is a case where I have been working as hard as I can with Ms. Ginny Barlow, who's responsible for maintaining all of the leases.
Let's stick with the question.
I'll ask my next question then. But it is not on me that I don't have an office. It is not on me. I am holding meetings by Zoom and at the Carisdale Community Centre. You're just disappointed you don't have a place to protest. Anyway, question number 2. Mr. Speaker, this troika of agreements, which none of us have even fully seen yet, grants the Musqueam Indian Band decision-making authority over 2 of the main waterways and shipping lanes of the Lower Mainland, namely Burrard Inlet going all the way up Indian Arm and the Fraser River, an area which also includes international borders. Mr. Speaker, a small unaccountable band council having control over the main waterways and shipping lanes and harbors of the Lower Mainland is not only a direct attack on the arteries that are the economic lifeblood of this province, but also a national security risk as this proclaimed territory includes international borders. Think Roxham Road. Think Akwesasne Reserve.
Member.
This agreement cannot stand, Mr.
Question,
Speaker,
member.
And so I ask you to the Premier, will you immediately call for this agreement to be rescinded and forever shelved as it constitutes a threat to the very sovereignty and economy of this province? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Well, the agreements the member talks about do nothing of the kind, and she could actually pick them up and read them and she'd understand them. She could talk to Musqueam people, but she refuses to. She could talk to the chief, but she's disrespected him so badly that why would he meet with her? They've said they're willing to meet, to talk with her, but because of the hate that she spreads, it's very difficult to have any sort of civil discussion. Now, I've got to say very clearly, Honourable Speaker, that Musqueam has been clear from the beginning. They want to work together, just as First Nations all across this province want to work together. They don't want hate. They don't want people following them at the grocery store, calling them names, shouting at them. They don't want people at their schools doing the same. But when the member spreads untruths about First Nations people, that they're coming for your homes, they're coming for your waterway, they're going to control the rivers and streams and oceans, and they're going to stop everything from happening, it's just simply untrue. Because you know what, Honourable Speaker? Some of the biggest economic investments, some of the strongest economic leaders in this province are First Nations communities, including Musqueam. Working with First Nations people, we're unlocking billions and billions of dollars in investment in this province, and it's helping lead Canada. We're helping lead Canada. The future lives in BC, and that's because we're working with First Nations on mining, on energy, on schools, on education, on public safety, on housing. You know what, Honourable Speaker? Working with First Nations, the future is bright.
Thank you, Minister.
Working with that member, I don't think I want
Minister.
to. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.